Good evening, everybody. I hope we're well. I hope we've got the stream up and running here. I hope anyway. Hopefully we should be able to see you all. Everybody. I hope we're well. I hope we've got me all right. I hope you can all see me okay and things. Hopefully we should be able to see you all. I hope we're well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am a little early. I'm working. I hope I well. I hope you can hear me all right. How you can all see me okay and going. I am How's that? Is that better? 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 Just waiting for a few of us to join or comment and things. I know there's one of you watching at the moment, two's watching now. Just waiting for a few of us to join or comment and things. I know there's one of you watching at the moment, two's watching now. Let me take a look at the picture quality, see if I can get the picture quality to be a little better. How is that? Can I have a few comments and things so I can at least realise that you can hear me and it sort of looks okay at your end? Hi Debbie, thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate that. I hope you're well and you're keeping okay and things. There's a little bit of a delay I've noticed from my end to your end or vice versa. So hopefully a few more videos done. Like I say, I am early because I didn't want to I wanted to see how the stream was going to run. It is probably going to need cleaning up a little bit more, but it seems to be running okay. How is it for you, Debbie, at your end? Is it okay? It's okay, but you can't see the chat, right? So you can't see that, can you not? Right, okay. Is there a reason for you not being able to see that? Maybe I'm the only one that's meant to see it, Debbie. So maybe wait for a few more because a few more just starting to join. So no, it's okay. You might not. I wonder why you're not seeing the chat. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at some of the live chat. Try now. Can you see better now? Can you see it? Just going to take a little bit of time to get used to this. It's a brand new way of doing it. Picture definitely. Just say yours, right? I wonder where that is. Okay, anybody else who's watching, could you maybe comment and let me know how the stream is running for you? I know there's a few of you here. I'm just waiting for a few of you to sort of click in and become aware. Can't see anybody else's. Right, okay, wait a minute then, let's have a look. Participants. Can't see anybody else's. Live chat is on, which is top chat, may not be visible. Live chat, all messages are visible. All messages should be visible. You should be able to see them all now. I can't say that there's 4 peeps on, but that's it. I can say there's 4 peeps on, but that's it. Can you not see this chat box on this side? I don't know. I can see it. I can see what you're saying, but I can't see anybody else's. Yvonne, I can see Debbie Wilson only. That's fine. There's only 2 of you. So when people start to comment, you'll be able to see more and more of what other people are saying. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Thank you for commenting. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Debbie, can you see other people's now? Thanks to Yvonne for commenting and saying that she can see Debbie's. I can see now. Great. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live Q&A, which is 7:30 here. UK time. Where you are in other parts of the world, it may be a little bit different on your time frame. I'm Danielle, better known as Danielle the Happy Medium, and this evening's live stream will consist of your Q&A or your questions to me about anything to do with the spirit world, anything to do with anything that you feel is the Buddha medium. I will be able to do my very best. I cannot guarantee my knowledge will be for everybody, but I will do my very best to incorporate that for you. We also have the whiteboard here, so we are going to be doing, I will try and incorporate not only talking to you, but also with connections to drawing it as well, because I sometimes find a lot of people learn through visuals, not so much as just yap, people. So thanks very much for joining, ladies. I hope you all had a lovely day. Let me just sort of do the little bit of the small intros, which is the fact that we have a guide workshop, a mediumship workshop coming in on the 24th of February, and that is in the northeast of England here. I do have 2 spaces available for those who maybe want to join on to that one. I also then have an online workshop, which is a mediumship workshop, which is available on the 2nd of March, and that is with 4 participants left to fill. So if you're interested in any one of those, please do either inbox me via Facebook or get in touch with me via the website through the email account, which is askme@daniellethehappymedium.com. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. We're still waiting for a few more to join, because I know there was a few waiting in the other room. I hope I've clicked into the right one, because it's still all a bit new to me, and it's all sort of especially all this sort of modern technology and stuff. I'm not completely open with it all at the moment, but I'm coming, and like anything, you've got to learn it, and then once you learn it, it grows and it gets better. It's a bit like a mediumship, really. Once you start, and then you start learning, more and more will start to come in there, more and more will start to be able to filter in, if that makes sense. And it's just the same for me watching this. So for those who have any questions, or anybody who's interested in talking to me about the spirit world, I am open and ready for your questions. I'll do my very best to answer them. I cannot always guarantee that, I have all the knowledge, because if I had not all the knowledge, there would be no need for other mediums, and there would be no need for other psychics or whatever it is that is out there. So my knowledge, like I say, will fit for some, but will not fit for all. So without further ado, I am quite happy to answer whatever it is that you want to talk to me about here this evening. Now, I know you're a little shy. I know Debbie's not shy, but I know some of you are new to here, or some of you aren't quite sure as to how this is working. Again, we are a little few minutes early, so I know there's a lot of people just starting to join there as well, so I might have to repeat myself, which isn't always handy. I'm a little early bird, especially because, like I said, I don't know how the stream was going to run, because last week it wouldn't run at all, so we've learned quite a bit even from last week, because last week it just wouldn't even get into it. At least this week we've got it sort of running and up and going and things there. So I'm just sort of waiting for the rest of the class and the rest of the people to join, and then we'll take it from there. So how is Debbie and Catherine and Yvonne and Laura? I hope you are all well, and I hope you've had a great day. Maybe tell me a little bit about your day and tell me how things have gone for you, and how it is or why it is that you're maybe interested in mediumship, or what you would like to gain from mediumship, training, knowledge, awareness, and these types of things. What is it that you're always looking for? What is it you'd like to develop, or what is it that you have an interest in? So is it an interest in all good babes? Oh well, that's good. That's what I like to hear. As long as you're all good and everything's all well and happy and things there for you. I can see everybody being able to see everybody else's chat, and everybody's able to see what other people are saying. I'm waiting for a couple of my admins as well to join us, because I know we're short of a couple of admins. Lucy's here. Good evening to Lucy. I hope you're well. Did you find the stream okay, Lucy? I hope you did. Hiya to Michael as well. Nice to see you there, Michael. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you joining me this evening. Lucy says I did. Smashing. Great. Thank you very much for joining me. Anybody got any questions? Anything they want to talk to me about, Debbie? How is the trans going down? It's going well, thanks, Deb. Really, really well. My home circle's continuing to evolve, and the trans is continuing to move forward as always. And you know, my guides continue to move forward with everything that they want to move forward with. We sort of leave it open to them, Debbie. Trans is very much open to the spirit world, what they want to bring forward, what they want to communicate, what they want to talk to us about. We do like to test them. We do like to give them little tasks and things as we search. So, for example, we did an exercise last week with them, which was where we'd all thought about something or something that we wanted to talk about with the set guide that comes through. And then we opened up the trans floor for him, and we said, right, what was it that we wanted to talk to you about? And he knew exactly what it is that we want to talk about. So we're constantly testing him and constantly testing the spirit world to see how much they know and how much knowledge they know, and whether or not they knew about what it is that we've been thinking about or what we wanted to talk about. And we hadn't discussed this between each of us. We'd all made this agreement that we would pick a topic in which that we wanted to speak about, but didn't tell each other within the home circle. And then ultimately, when the guide come through, he was able to talk about the topics in which that we wanted to talk about. So yes, he does very well. Bless his little heart. He's an incredible guide. I have a exceptionally good team, and one guide in particular that I speak about quite a lot, who works with me fundamentally on more or less everything that I do. But yes, it's moving forward. It's continuing to evolve. From time to time, I still like to interfere there, and something that I continuously work on. Sometimes it always depends on where my mind is as a mental medium as well as a trance medium, because some days are better than other days. Some trance sittings we do are done really, really well. Others, sometimes I'm still interfering there, or I've had a busy day, or my mind's not completely with it, if that makes sense. Some sittings seem to be better, others seem to be not so better. It's all about my mind, really, Debbie, and where my mind is when we're doing them trance sittings or that home circle as such. But do we get some really good evidence from them? Yes. Do we get a lot of knowledge from them with philosophy and these types of things? Of course. And we continue to evolve that and grow that forward there. And I'm really looking forward to doing a trance workshop, which is in May. It's a 2-day workshop. It's completely sold out there. But I look forward to be able to show people a little bit more about trance and how interesting trance really is. Because I don't think many people really understand trance or are quite fearful of trance, or they think that trance is something that we should be sort of frowning upon, or it's something that's scary and the spirit world's going to take over your body, or some kind of possession, or these types of things. So I sometimes tend to find that people have a real misconstrued idea of what trance is and how trance is done, but yet trance has such wonderful benefits, and it has such a lovely closeness with not only the medium but also the sitters who sit in the home circle, but also with connections to blending better with the spirit world. Because with the mental medium, there's always the possibility the mental medium can interfere too much, or the conscious mind can interfere too much, and that can be said with trance as well. But the spirit world has a lot more control when trance is going on, or we give ourselves over to the spirit world, if that makes sense, and allow them to blend with us that little bit closer. So I hope that answers the question a little bit more. So Kathy's saying, Danielle, years ago, I don't know if it was a dream or real, but my nana came and asked me if I wanted to look round where she was, and it was beautiful, and it was taking over a bridge. I can't think of it right. So what's happened there is, Kathy, each and every one of us astral travel, whether we remember it or not. So what tends to happen is our loved ones, when they're visiting us, which they do tend to use the sleep-like states. Reason being is because we're a lot more relaxed then, because obviously we have quietened the mind down, we have altered states. So we have alpha, which is the normal altered state, which is what we're working at, which is anything between 18 and 30 thoughts per second. Then we go to the beta, which is dropping down from around about anywhere between that comes down to around about 18 to around about 8. So that's where we're starting to meditate. That's where we're sort of trying to go to sleep. That's when we're trying to sort of quietening down the walking world into what we call the sleep state. And then we have the theta, which is where we're running about 3 to 5 thoughts per second there. Wait, 3 to 8, I would say, probably 3 to 8, probably 8, maybe 8 to 12. Because then we have the gamma, which is where we're looking for the deep state trance-like level, which is where the spirit world and all the magic happens. But anyway, getting back to your question, Kathy, what happens is because we're using the altered states, and because the altered states are there, the spirit world will use the mind when the mind is a lot quieter or within them altered states, and they'll sort of blend in there with your mind. And then what they will do is, because each and every one of us astral travels, which is where the spirit or the soul or the energy of us will actually not completely leave the body, but it will travel, a bit like time travel really, Kath, if that makes sense. And what will happen is our loved ones can take us to the spirit world. You may hear of people who say they've been dreaming and they've been in another city or another place. That can be because they've seen the traffic and the people and everything as if it was real life. And that can be because of astral traveling and the fact that you have gone there. A lot of people actually, Kathy, intentionally astral travel. So what they will do is they will put the thoughts into their mind, or they will put their intention to astral traveling and say, I would like to go to, I don't know, New York. And what will happen is eventually they will then end up in New York because they will have altered their mind enough in order to be able to astral travel or project that energy or move that energy. So what they do is they go from the mind through the spirit world and then back down onto the earth plane. So the spirit world becomes like a sort of interactive sort of place, which like a bit like a gate. So the gate, it like open the gate up to allow your mind to move between the two worlds, if that makes sense, or between this world and the spirit world, or vice versa. So what it sounds like to me, Kath, is your nan's come forward there in your altered state of sleep, and she has took your hand and has took your mind to the spirit world, and she's been able to show you the spirit world. So what a lovely, lovely experience there for you. And unfortunately, sometimes we go, other times we may have gone, Kath, and have forgotten or can't remember, which is quite normal. A lot of people say these things, say that they can't remember astral traveling, but then there's other people who will say that they can remember, and they've remembered all that has gone on when they've been astral traveling. So well done, and well done to your Nana. And I know a few of the people who have spoken to me about that over the years, so it will happen again if you ask or you put your intention to it. There's no reason why you cannot. I can't seem to go back. Did I dream this or did I go to the other side? I believe from my own personal thoughts and feelings through the knowledge in which my mind has given me, I would say you've probably gone to the other side there, Kath, with the help of your Nana and the altered states there of the mind also. So well done. Congratulations. I hope you enjoyed it. How was it for you over there? Hi to Kerry and Chantel, who's here as well. I hope you are well, ladies, and I hope you have had a great evening. I hope everything is going well for you there. Everybody's just starting to come into the stream, so that's nice. So any other questions for us with connection to mediumship or connection to anything you'd like to know with that type of thing? Hi to Julie. Julie's normally my question lady. Normally she's got loads and loads of questions for me, Julie. So when you're ready, Julie, because I know you've always got plenty for us. Let me have a mouthful of this tea. Proper northern girl. Kind of go nowhere without a cup of tea. I could have done with a cup more. I've been drinking that one. Hi, Julie. Yeah, Julie's always got questions and things. Thank you very much to Kerry for the lovely review. I really do appreciate that. Chantal says, I have been really vivid dream lately, and it's been really weird ones. Is that the spirit world? Do you ever get scared, Danielle? I'll answer yours in a minute, Lucy. So for Chantal, who's asking me about vivid dreams, we can also call them elusive dreams, which is where what has happened there is what we tend to find is when we're having nightmares or scary dreams or elusive dreams or sleep paralysis, what has happened is that the mind has gone through the altered state to the sleep state place where it needs to be. What then will happen is we have normally got quite a bit going on here to the earth plane. Or what will happen is that we've got some emotional issues that haven't been worked through or things that haven't been addressed on the conscious earth plane. What tends to happen, because we live such busy lives, we will push them things to the back of the mind. We will push them back. So when we either go to sleep or when we're falling off to sleep, we may be starting to think about them things, or we may want to address them things when we are asleep there. What will tend to happen is these will play out as bad dreams, elusive dreams, nightmares, these types of things, sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis, for all I'm not a doctor here, and I'm not diagnosed in any way, because sometimes sleep paralysis can be a medical condition. Sometimes sleep paralysis can also be where we have come through the altered stage too quick. The mind has woken, but the body hasn't quite caught up with us, because as if any of us know, we have to go through the altered stage to come back to the conscious world or to waken up. Sometimes what happens is the mind wakes up a little too quick, the body hasn't quite moved with us, and it can sort of jolt the body so that the body's still asleep, but the mind is awake, which can give us sleep paralysis. There's a house phone ringing. My daughter will get that chased downstairs. So when it comes to vivid dreams or lucid dreams or nightmares and things like this, it could be, Chantal, that you have quite a bit going on with connections to emotional problems or things here to the earth that you're not addressing and needs to be addressed. Yeah, you're addressing it while you are either going to sleep, which is you're thinking about it, or it's sitting within the subconscious. It needs to be addressed in order so that they can be released and let go of. I know that when I work with a lot of mediums who tell me about scary things, or they see demonic things, or they see sort of things that are not very nice, or these types of things, I tend to find that most of these mediums have an emotional problem going on, or they have had some kind of emotional upset, which is setting off a trigger, which is what will probably be happening there with you, Chantal, as well. It's setting off a trigger, and the trigger then elusive there is, or the mind, because the mind is trying to alter or trying to work through the emotional problem, what then happens is the conscious mind can then push it to the subconscious, and the subconscious can then play it out, or vice versa. The conscious mind could play it out as seeing awful things, demonic things, spiders, these types of things, which makes you fear-based. So when you're using your clairvoyance, people then become fearful of using it because they're scared. They're scared that they're saying these things, but really it's not. It's just that the mind has got these emotional problems, or the things that you're pushing to the back of your mind, or the triggers, and then it's being played out through the mind, in through the vision, because that's the only way the mind can conduct it, so that not so that you can understand it, but that's the way your mind's basing it in, is a fear, if you can understand. So when people talk to me about demonics and saying demonic things, or they're saying, entities and, these types of things, it's fear. It's a trigger within the mind, or it's an emotional problem that hasn't been addressed. So therefore, it's then being played out within your mind, which is then overthinking it, if that can make sense as well. So Lucy Smith says, do you ever get scared at all, Danielle? I used to, when I first started out, I'll be very honest with you, Lucy. Yeah, at times, because there was a lot of these sensory systems going on. I didn't always know what was going on. I didn't understand, why I was saying these things, or why I was hearing these things, or why I was feeling these things, or, what all these things was about, why I was saying these people, but the other people couldn't say them. And it coming from a family who was non-spiritual, and not knowing where I wanted to be or who to talk to, it was sort of, you sort of keeping that to yourself, if that meant sense, Lucy. And unfortunately, what happened was is I had a lot of questions, but I had nowhere to go with these questions. And even though I had the guide, I didn't know how to communicate properly with the guide. I didn't know how to talk to the guide. I wasn't sure whether I was doing it right, doing it wrong. And I ultimately sort of had to learn to just trust in what I was getting, and trust in him, and trust in the spirit world, and trust in what I was sort of doing, because at the time I didn't have any other sort of substance to sort of put it to, if that makes sense, because like I say, I was from a non-spiritual background. People in my family weren't spiritualists or anything like this. So what come to me just become like natural, if that makes sense. It wasn't, not that I believe everybody's a natural medium, but it just become like second nature, will probably be the better word. But when I first started out, Lucy, yes, and I find a lot of mediums who do come to me, or do want to be trained by me, or whatever it may be, are all very sort of fear-based, because they've had this sensory system going on, or they've been seeing these people, but they don't know what to do with it, if that makes sense. So yes is the answer to your question. A lot of mediums I do find is in this position and don't have anywhere to go, unfortunately, and it's frowned upon in the industry, even as a professional medium, that we should be taking advice from other fellow mediums, or because we're professional mediums and we're in the public eye, that we should know everything, and we shouldn't have to ask for help, and I think we really need to get our mediums open on their feet, so that one, they have somewhere to go, and if people get stuck, then they've got somebody to talk to, because unfortunately it's such a closed off industry at times. A lot of mediums I find don't know who to talk to, and they think they're going to be classed as stupid, or that because they're already professionally working, or that they're working for the spirit world, they should know what they're doing. And That's not always the case, and there should be no harm and no problem in asking for help and not feeling silly for asking for help either, because I feel it's just a shame, and a lot of people then either shut their ability off or don't allow their ability to grow because they're fearful of what people's going to think, or they're fearful that people's going to think they're stupid because they think that they should know best there. And unfortunately, that's not how it should be. It should be open to be talked about, and every topic should be talked about. It's just there's not enough of us doing it there, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's have a look. So hi to Julie and Debbie and Chantel. That's another question. No problem. So Julie's saying, have you ever crossed anyone over and sent them towards the light? Okay, there's a couple of scenarios here, Julie, with this one. So we have the concept of that when everybody dies or everybody passes to the spirit world, they all go over to the spiritual world with their loved ones, guides, guardian angels, whatever it is that you may want to talk about there. We do hear a lot of, a lot of people who are still here to the earth plane have chosen not to go to the earth plane. Now, I have to give you both sides, Julie, because it's important that I do. So one, if we go with the concept of what you talk about, then what would happen is that we would have everybody go to the spirit world, nobody would be left behind, nobody would, need to be taken back towards the light if we take that concept. But we have to then add in the concept of free will. And unfortunately, each and every one of us gets free will when we come here to the earth plane. Now, we could use this concept of that some people choose not to go towards the light, and that is entirely up to them. And it is up to them whether or not they choose to go to the light or choose not to go to the light. So I have two sides, Julie, of one, I agree that yes, 95% of the people probably do go towards the light and stay there and with their loved ones and all the rest of it. But I cannot constantly not rule out the concept of free will. I can't rule that out. I cannot say for definite that everybody goes to the spirit world and everybody lives in the spirit world and this, that, and the other, because unfortunately every soul and every energy has free will, and it ultimately has a choice there. So I have to put that into the mix there. Have I personally sent anybody across to the light? No, not personally, not myself. But I do know that there's people out there that would what we call soul rescue, or people who have people in their homes and they get mediums in and move them on or put them back into the light. And like I've told you before, I do have a gentleman, and he was here when I got this house, but he just comes and goes because it was the house in which that he lived in. But I always have to give two sides, Julie, and it's up to you as the general public or the medium who may be watching me right now as to which one that you want to sort of look into, if that makes sense, and which one really sits best with you. We could go with this scenario, and I tend to think this one's a lot more correct. But again, I can't completely rule out that free will link there either. So I hope that helps you a little bit with your question. Hi to Denise, who's just joining. Hi to Sharon as well. Chantal saying, can you guys step back with your mediumship if you've got a lot going on? Right. So let me sort of help you there with that one, Chantal. So for the guides never move. Guides stay the same unless we're having a change of guides. Now, we do get guides who can be with us for a great length of time, but then after a while, because we're growing or evolving either spiritually or we're learning more knowledge within the spiritual world, or some guides have only had so much knowledge that they can give us at this time, and then they may start to step away in order for new guides to step forward. That can be one possibility. There then can also be the possibility of the conscious mind has interfered, Chantal, because one, you have a lot going on, so you sort of start to step back yourself from your mediumship. The guides tend not to step away from you. I find a lot of people who come to me panic, well, my guides has up and left me, the spirit world's up and left me. The spirit world tend not to up and leave you. It's that fact that you've actually upped and left the spirit world, or you've upped and left your guide. What I would say for you, Chantel, is a person who I know I've trained and I know you quite well, is I would go back to maybe sitting a couple of times a week. It could be that your mind or your conscious mind is too heavily involved at the moment, and unfortunately because of that you're constantly stepping in the way of your guide or allowing your guide to step in when they need to. Or they could have also accepted that the free will choice of you at this time is you don't want to have the spirit world around and about you is possible, if that makes sense. So there's a couple of scenarios there. If you want to reconnect with that guide, then what you need to do is try and clear your mind, get everything that's going on with the walking world sort of addressed. We're always busy with the walking world down here. And the mental mind will always, or the conscious mind will always sort of interfere there, but it shouldn't interfere enough so that you completely think that the spirit world stepped back, if that makes sense. So what I want to say to you is ultimately it'll be part of you, or the majority of it will be you, but it'll also be because maybe it's time for you personally, you need to step back. So I said last week, I've slowed my mediumship down. I've stepped back from my mediumship. Why? Because of the fact that I'm busy with the earth plane down here. I've got some new things that have come in on the earth, and I'm really interested in looking at them. It's not that my mediumship's gone anywhere. It's still there. It's just that I don't need to be with my mediumship full time at the minute. I can have this side and that side. And it's learning about having the balance. And this is what I'm going to be talking. I'm going to put a video up tomorrow about hypersensitivity or oversensitives, if that makes sense, Chantal. Which is where we have people who constantly are living between the two worlds. So, say for example, this was you. So let me just write it for you. Let me draw for you. So we talk about hypersensitivity, right? So here's you, Chantal. Okay, there's you. And what happens is you're living between the two worlds. So there's half of you living in the spirit world, and then there's half of you living on the earth world, right? But you haven't learned to bring all of you, so all of you needs to come back over to here. Does this make sense? Most mediums I work with, or most mediums I'm having something to do with, are living between two altered states, which then makes them hypersensitive. So then what happens is their clairs are constantly, or their psychic ability is constantly firing off all of the time. And you don't know what's yours or what's the spirit world's. So you need to, if you're staying on the earth, then think yourself back onto the earth plane. And then what you would then do is when you go back to the spirit world, think yourself back into the spirit world. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? They will never go away. The spirit world and your guides will never go away. It'll just be that you either step back from your mediumship or your conscious mind has just stepped back for now. So hope that helps you. And then when you want to reconnect, you just think yourself in there and they'll still be there. Okay? Let me take a look. So, hi to Julie. So Julie's asking me, have you ever had a spirit come to you looking for someone because they were lost? In all honesty, Julie, no. The intelligence of the spirit world doesn't allow that. So the intelligence of the spirit world is that the spirit world knows exactly who they belong to. They know where they live. They know who their loved ones are. They don't have. They're not silly. You know, the intelligence of the spirit world is really, really smart. So they have a real understanding and they have a real clue of idea of what it is that they're doing over there. So when people get lost, or when they say that the spirit world gets lost, that I cannot. Again, it's a two-way question. If I work with the intelligence of the spirit world, Julie, I will always go with the logic base of that the spirit world are very intelligent. They know where they need to be, especially when we look at the fact of when we do demonstrations of mediumship, the loved ones turn up for that particular night. Now, that has to be because of thought base, because we send the thoughts to the spirit world. Oh, I hope my nana comes through, I hope my dad comes through, I hope somebody comes through, whatever it may be. But then we also have to look at the concept of the fact that if we work on the fact of children or people who are, children used to get lost, not because they're silly or anything, just because they're inquisitive. And some spirits are inquisitive when they come to the earth, and they do sort of come to visit loved ones, but don't always up to speed with everything. Does that make sense? They're probably aware of just about everything, but we have to also bring in the concept of that, not all of the time are they aware of everything. If we use the idea of thoughts and our loved ones and we connect with them with thoughts in the way in which they're actually mediumship, then ultimately, if we're telling our loved ones that we're having a hard time, then they're always there for us. It's like if, I don't know, I haven't spoken to my mum in about dad in that 8 weeks. But if I was to ring my mum, I could fill my mum in on everything that's gone on. But if she was in my life every day, she would know everything that went on with me. So I have to use the concept of that as well when it comes to whether or not people get lost, or whether or not we have to use the intelligence of the spirit world. We have to keep an open mind, Julie, when it comes to the spirit world, because anything's possible, because the spirit world is limitless. And we are always working with energy and matter, and energy is always changing, altering and evolving. So we have to always keep this open-mindedness with the spirit world, that, you know, where we think one thing may be absolutely set in stone, there's always an offshot there of extras, or there could be another side, or there could be another sort of scenario. So I always keep quite an open mind, Julie, when it comes to whether people have been lost or come looking for me because they're lost, or, you know, these types of things. I have yet to experience anybody who's lost in the spirit world. I have to be honest with you on that one. And the same with the fact that I haven't actually put anybody back into the light because of the fact that they didn't know where they were or what they were doing, or these types of things. So for me as a medium, my answer always has to be no in them capacities. But I always learn to look at the other side and understand that it could be always another possibility. There's always another side, or there's always another offshot that could possibly be there. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for you. Hiya to Donna, who's just joined, and Lucy's here as well, and welcome, Lucy. Kerry's saying, evening. So when you sit for our guides, I have just sat quietly and cleared my mind, but also talked to your guides. Would you agree this would work? I'm working with my team. Right, so for those who are looking to connect to the guides who haven't, or don't know who their guides are, or constantly sort of trying to find out who their guides are. So let me sort of give you an understanding of how I did mine. So when I first started out, do you journal, Danielle? No, I've never really. But I will tell you a story. So when I first started out, I was aware from being a child, from around about the ages of 8, I was aware that I was different and knew something was odd. I thought it was adopted. I just knew something was different in me, but I couldn't understand what it was. And because I come from a non-spiritual background, I never really got it, Kerry, if that makes sense. So then when I was about 13, 14, people used to shout my name out in the night, and I used to see a man walking across my mum's land, and at the house that my mum still lives in to this day. Then it sort of come and went, and then it sort of went off. And then when I was in my 20s and stuff, I used to be able to predict stuff, and it would come off. And my dad used to say I used to talk to people, but there was nobody there. But I can't remember that. But my dad says he can remember them things. But anyway, so when I got into me 30s, and after a stint with a problem with a job, and my nana passed, and my relationship broke down, and these types of things, a friend of mine was into spiritualism. And she said to us this day, why don't you do this meditation, Danielle? And I was like, what the hell's meditation? You know, I mean, I hadn't even heard of meditation. Do you know what it was, Kerry? And I thought, right, okay then. And I'll be like, you, Kerry, I just sort of sat down, right? And I got my headphones in, you know, because she was saying you needed, like, get your headphones in and do this and do that. And I was like, right, oh, fair enough then. So because I didn't know any different, I just sort of went with it, you know. And I just shut my eyes and I started breathing. And within about 2 seconds, 3 seconds of me shutting my eyes and starting these deep breathing, he was there, this man who's now with me now, he was there, and his exact words to us, like, run across my mind. I didn't hear it, like, I heard it inside my mind, and his exact words to us was, Kerry, is I've been waiting for you. And I was like, and I can't swear on here, Kerry, right, but I, honest to God, I nearly died, and that's my word of life. I honestly died. I could have dropped to the floor, right, I could have, but I've seen him very well. I was quite fortunate, I was able to see him very, very well. But I just sort of sat, you put these headphones in, my mate was saying, you know, I need to take these deep breaths, I need to do this, I need to do that, and I was like, right, well, you know, I mean, I'll have a crack at that. And I just sort of went at it like that. Then obviously I started sitting more because I knew he was there, so I was intrigued because I was nosy. I was like, oh my God, who's this fella? Like, what's going on here? And then from that, like, I started to, like, feel him, and I started to be able, like, my hands, when he would come forward, my hands would warm up, and my feet would warm up. And then he would sometimes tickle my nose, and we started, like, just playing these sort of games. It just become, like, very natural. It was like, do that again, you know, like, and he would, like, I would say, step forward, and then he would, like, step out. And so I would feel the change of his energy, so I would understand that when he stood in, my hands would warm up, my feet would warm up, and he would tickle my nose, and then he would step out, and I wouldn't feel it anymore. And then other times he would show me I couldn't see him, so I would, like, have to know he was there. So I was, like, listening to, like, my inner being, and, like, I was like thinking to myself, I know you're there. It was just like an inner calling, if that makes sense. And then when I used to do clairaudience with us, he would, like, shout in one ear and then shout in the other, and I was able to work out sort of which one was more stronger than the other. And then he would start to, like, run stuff over my mind, and then he would say, what have I said? And I would say, I don't know, what have you said? And he'd say, well, then you're not listening properly. Do you understand that? He would like give me words. So would like do like words of the alphabet and stuff. So like he would pick like words, so A, B, C, and then he would put, and then he would go, what was that letter? But he wouldn't show me it. I had to hear it inside my mind or hear it with my ear, so it would be Z, and I would go Z, and he'd go, yes, that's right. And this is where I say about testing your guides and learning to work with them. These are just some of the little hints and tips that I can help you with your guide connection. But when you're talking to them, and even though they're not there, even if you're talking to them, so sometimes, right, I didn't see him at all, right, the man I work with every day, I don't see him at all. So I just like sit there and I'll go, these are the things I need to talk about today, these are the things that I want to say, but all of it's in my mind, right, and I just sort of do like the deep breaths, but I sit more for the power than I do for meditation, because I don't really like meditations, I've got to be honest with you on that one. So I just like sort of sit in the power and build my energy, and then I just sort of say, right, these are the things I have, these are the things I'm looking for. Is there any chance we can maybe, you know what I mean? You always say to them, is there any chance? Can you help us out? I'd be grateful if we could look at this. Thank you very much for giving me that. You know, talk to them as if you were talking, but it's all in your mind. So when you're doing demonstrations of mediumship, the first word you would say is you know, in your mind, remember it's all thought-based. And when I talk about flipping the switch, or when I talk about walking yourself in the spirit world, as soon as you stand on a rostrum or you sit on a one-to-one, as soon as you put your mind in the seat, right, you're looking at the lady, and the first thing you're going to say to us is who's there, or who's this lady looking for? And straight away, you've already walked yourself into the spirit world. It's that easy. You've walked yourself. You're already there. Once you've said in your mind, who's this lady looking for? What's the story? What's the relationship? You've already walked yourself to the spirit world. You're there. You've already shifted that consciousness. It's that quick. It's like that. Boosh, boosh. And when you get on a rostrum and you say to them, right, let them in, again, straight away, you've moved your consciousness. You've already shifted that over. People seem to think it's really complicated or it's some sort of like magic trick. It's a thought. You've already pushed the thought out. Your guides will have picked that up. They're going to work with that. Do you know what I mean? They're going to start and come forward, because that's the thought. That's the flipping of the switch. You're away. And that's as easy as it is. And then all you start looking for once you've said them words is how your body's adjusted. Do you see somebody? Do you hear a word like dad or mom? Or, you know, do you feel like your lungs have changed or your breathing's adapted? Or do you feel like you've gone really hot? Because sometimes some people pass and they've gone really hot. Do you understand? So you're constantly using this sensory system. Or do you just know that connection's there? So, and then you can use all of this just with your guides the same way, but instead of with the loved one, just alternate it for the guide, like, I'm connected to my guides. They're there. They're talking to me. What I'm hearing now is them and only them. What I feel now is only them. It's an instant click. Hello, I'm here. I've moved my consciousness. Do you understand? So I hope that sort of helps you with that. I look forward to seeing how your team comes on, Kerry. Is it possible that a Red Indian I saw real feather headdress Red Indian was my guide? Without training you, Kathy, I wouldn't like to say. There's a lot of big things about, you know, Indians, nuns, you know, guides come in all shapes and sizes. I spoke about this last week. Some come in, I've seen them in energy where they're just music guides. They move to the vibration. They're just a vibrational guide, but there's no words come out them. But the energy moves. So like it's like this. I've seen angelic guides. I've worked with angelic guides. I've worked with average run-of-the-mill Joes. You know what I mean? I've done a course completely on guides, and I teach guides because I've worked so dedicatedly with guides in the spirit world, all different types. I've worked with people who are grey guides. Grey guides is a guide that hasn't completely finished its training in the spirit world in order to take human to the next level with the mediumship, but they are overseen by the light and they're continuously progressing as that medium is progressing. Then we've got a more higher vibrational guides, which is guides who have done more extensive work in specific areas, so philosophy, doorkeeping, healing, whatever it may be. It's like down here when you get degrees, you have certain people who are more advanced in a certain particular knowledge base than there is other people because they've done more extensive learning in that area. I've worked with the average run-of-the-mill Joe. I've worked with a brand new guy who's straight out of guide school. I'll never forget I did a night on a rostrum at sea and boom, maybe a couple of years ago, and a young guide who'd not long come out with guide school had approached my team and asked would it be possible for him to work in my team for a little while. We agreed, yes, and he come in and he was absolutely cracking, you know, and in the way in which, and you have to understand that guides have to work with lots of different mediums' minds in order to be able to gain knowledge and understanding of how the medium works, the way in which the mind is working, how different mediums' minds work, because every medium is unique, so they're all continuously evolving. How do you expect the spirit to get training if they're not working with humans? Do you understand that? Or working with the medium's mind. You get a lot of guys who watch other mediums, not that they're interfering, they're just interested in looking at how that team works. If they can gain anything from that team, what kind of knowledge can they take from it? Can they implement that within their team? Or how can they bring their medium on, if that makes sense? There's lots of different things that go on, guys. People seem to think that guides are just energy, and which they are. They have so much more to guides, and we so underuse guides because we're now in this mind frame. And I'm not trying to be opinionated here, and I understand a lot of people work spirit on spirit, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we've got so much to learn from the guides in the spirit world, yet we so fundamentally exclude them from our team. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why it is that humans think that we have more knowledge or more understanding than the guides in the spirit world, in which that we class as so intelligent. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for you there, Kathy, actually, sorry. Chantel saying, may sound a silly question. Never a silly question, Chantel, ever. Maybe a silly question, but do you recommend talking to your guides every day, like sitting for every day? I recommend 2 to 3 times a week, if that's beneficial to you. You know, we all need to sit within the power, but no matter how professional you are, you are, even if it's just to quiet the conscious mind there so that the spirit world can draw that little bit closer. It may be that within that sitting in the time or sitting in the power or meditation, your guides can bring in the lessons or the study in which that they feel they would like to know about, if you can understand that. So there's plenty benefits from sitting in the power or doing meditation. Sometimes I just sit in the power and go, my people, right, I'm available for 15 minutes here. Whatever you want to chat about or whatever it is that you want to do in the background, by all means do so. I'm just going to sit and have a little bit of a power in surge here. You know what I mean? I'm not really interested in talking to you, but if you've got stuff you need to do in the background, by all means do so. But I'm just going to sit here because it's important to me. So remember, always go. I taught you this, Chantal, from the offshore. Always go with what feels best for you. If it feels right for you, if it feels right for you and you want to do it, by all means do it. If you don't do it. It's up to you. There's some mediums who can't meditate at all, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, every medium's unique. Some people can sit in the power, some people can't. Some people can meditate, some people can't. Some people can't meditate at all. It's entirely what it is that feels right for you. Always go with what it is that feels good for you and how it works for you and whether it really is what you want to do there. So I hope that helps you there a little bit. Sarah saying, I've heard my name being called again last night, but they do not reply to me. I don't speak a lot to them last night because I lost my wedding ring. Okay, well then you can always embrace and you can grow that there, Sarah. They may, if you're talking to you, it may just take a little more time for it to filter in there. And sometimes when they're talking to us, it's a lot subtler than the way that I'm speaking to you right now. So sometimes we mishear that, or we ignore it because we think that it is us interfering, or we're saying something to ourselves, or we're talking to ourselves, when really that's not the case, if that makes sense. So I would say to you that sometimes when they're talking to you, there's a little bit of a delay sometimes I find with mine. So when I've said something to my guide, it may take a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes for that to drop in, or for me to get the full story of what it is he's been saying to me. Or I can be meditating 2 or 3 days later, or sitting in the power or whatever it may be, and then the questions or the information I've been asking for will drop in at that time. Sometimes it takes a couple of days for the info to drop in, or whatever it is that I've been asking about there. So don't worry if you're not hearing it first time, or you're not getting everything first time. Sometimes it takes a few days or a couple of hours just to filter that in there. When you speak to them like you're speaking to me. You're asking me a question, I'm answering it. Them guys will do exactly the same there for you. The only thing I'll say to you is trust what you get. Trust it. Don't forget it. Don't think that it's you making it up or anything like that. Trust it and go with it. So I hope that answers the question a little bit for you there, Sarah. Yeah, I agree, because it's so easy at the minute within seconds to connect the spirit world. Yeah, I'm confused. When you feel confused, it's normally because your mental mind is confused. You've got a lot going on, and what tends to happen is to see a lot of mediums, because they feel confused or because they're not in a good place themselves, they start pushing it over on the spirit world. It's like the spirit world's doing that, or the spirit world's left me, please don't take this the wrong way, or the spirit world's doing this, or the spirit world's doing that. But really it's your mental mind that's interfering, or it's your mental mind that's not allowing that connection to sort of build in completely, or it feels like it's not. The best way to put it is like, you have to get these two pens, and if I was to stick that pen in there, it would fit. See, so the connection, you see? But if I turn it this way, the two ends don't fit together. So that's how you feel right now, Chantel. Like the two ends are like bashing against each other, where you're looking for them to slot. So when you get the guide and you slot together and push together. So you become one. Do you understand that? But when there's things going on with your mind, or when your mind's not always in the best place, you're bashing against each other, and then you're pushing him away. Do you understand? You're like, get away, get away, get away. I'm like a big kid here. Get away, get away, get away. Because you're fearing that there's something wrong. So he can't get past the fear because you're like, no. Your conscious mind's like, no. It's not right, it's not right. It doesn't feel right. Also, it could be that the change in your work, they're constantly adapting and changing, and you're constantly growing and evolving. And that's something else that freaks people out. Now that I get loads of mediums put me going, it's not the same work, and my work wasn't like that 6 weeks ago. Could it be that you've changed, you've grown as a person, or your mediumship's growing and evolving? Because mediumship is a constant evolving and learning and growing. And if you stay the same with your work and you will continue to stay the same, and you will not grow and alter and change and evolve. So bear that in mind, okay? Do I keep a journal? I don't there, Kerry, I have to be honest with you on that one. But I will tell you a story. So when I first started out and I started reading and stuff, I started like writing lots of sort of notes. So I used to like get spirit messages. I've got them all downstairs. And every link I used to get, I used to like write. So I would write like all about the spirit communicator, what they look like, the age, the address, all them types of things, if that makes sense. So I've got absolutely reams and reams of stuff downstairs where I did different messages, different things, all these types of things, and I've kept them so that when I do like the autobiography, which I'll eventually do in many years, not right now, they'll all be put in there. And also I'm going to put some of them in the new training book, because I'm in the middle of doing a teaching book. I brought a knowledge book out last year. There's a teaching book coming out this year, which will be packed with bits and pieces of that, so you can have a look and see what it is I talk about. Some people say to keep a journal, Kerry, it's entirely up to you, but not everybody should. Again, it's a personal preference. It's whether or not you feel as if you need to write things down in order to go back. I mean, I have quite a good memory. I can sort of store a tiny bit of info in here. But it's entirely up to you and as to what it is that you want there. It's up to you, darling, all right? Debbie says, hiya, Dan. Is a shadow of a spirit or a ghost or something else? Right, so a shadow, a spirit, or a ghost or something else. Well, a spirit is a person who has the ability to communicate. So a spirit tends to be a person who is of the spirit world, is a loved one, or is some connection to the spiritual world. So guide, or it could be, why do you think it's called a spirit guide? Spirit. It's all right, Gemma. Nice to see you, darling. So a spirit guide, or a spirit loved one, or a spirit person, whatever it may be. So this person has the intelligence in order to be able to communicate or to give over information with regards to yourself or to the loved ones here to the earth plane if there was a message going on. A ghost is a person where there is memories. So aspects of that particular spirit or memories of that spirit that would have been in a dwelling or may have been in a particular house or may have been in a hospital or whatever it may be. A ghost is memories of that, or what we call residual energy memories of what has been left behind by that person. So it's energy of the spirit, but it isn't actually the spirit because the spirit actually lives in the spiritual world. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for you there. Chantel says, when I was younger, I saw my granddad and it really scared me so bad that they never let me see spirit fully again. I've been scared before so much. Right. So let me give you a little technique for that. What I would say for you, Chantel, is if and when you're sitting, I would like you to take your, hiya Irene, I'd like you to put your thought to your third eye. And I would like you to repeat the words of, right? I see the truth and the truth does not scare me. And I want you to repeat that for a few weeks, because what you've done is automatically with fear, you shut down that sensory. And I was actually talking, I did a video the other day here on YouTube about people who come to me about either not seeing the spirit world, or they don't see what everybody else sees. And while some people do naturally not see the spirit world, which is because the clairaudience or whatever it is may be. Is that Chief you're talking about? Yes, my Chief. I love my Chief. He's such a good egg. But what it can do, or what can happen is because the fear has set in, what will happen is where you have to then release that again, so that you're allowing it to open back up, or you're allowing it to be seen. So repeat that experiment for about 6 weeks and let me know how you get on. Because ultimately what you've done, the spirit world haven't shut it down, you shut it down. So what we have to do now is let you be able to be mindful, or we need to tell the mind, there's nothing to worry about here, there's nothing to panic, there's nothing fearful of seeing the spirit world, there's no real issues here, there's no problems here. So therefore it's okay to see again. So try that experiment, see how you get on in 6 weeks, let me know, Chantal, won't you? Sarah saying, wow, she's talking about Chief, yes. Does the spirit sound like a whisper? Yes, Debbie. Sometimes when I work clairaudience, because I work a lot of different clair ranges, when I tend to work clairaudience, sometimes it's as if it's really loud inside of my head, where I feel as if somebody is shouting at me. Then other times I can have communicators who come to the left, and it's as if they're just whispering the information through my ear, and then it's being wrote across my mind. Then there's other times where I will hear people actually shout my name, as if my daughter downstairs was shouting my name. And then that can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And that happens quite a lot sometimes when I'm sort of resting, or when I'm sort of sleeping. Like the other night I was just sort of sat, I was watching the telly in bed, funny enough, and I heard somebody shout, Paul. But it was so clear, like as if somebody was shouting it, like as if I was shouting Debbie right now. It was like Paul, like that. And I thought, I just went to my people. I said, you pack that up. I said, I'm not working now. Give it over. And I never heard another thing after that. So yes, sometimes it can be like a whisper. Sometimes it can be a little louder. Sometimes it can be where it's so loud that it gives you a bit of a spooky. If that's going on, it's a little too loud. What I can say for those who can't hear their guides very well, tell them to speak up. So when you're sitting with your guides, or when you are working with the spirit world, either with the communicators or with your guides, and you're struggling to hear them, or you're not hearing them as well as you would like to, then tell them to speak up, or tell them to turn their voice up, or tell them, and they will always endeavour to help you in that capacity. So tell them to speak up, tell them to turn their volume box up, so that you can hear them a little more clearly, or you're not quite grasping what they're saying. So for example, when I'm working with a communicator, when she's talking to me, but sometimes she may go a little quiet, I go, what do you say there, dear? I didn't quite hear you. The same as down here sometimes when you're working with the spirit, when you're working with humans, sometimes you don't always hear everything everybody says. So sometimes you have to go back and say, what did you say there? Say that again so I hear you. So that's another way of developing your clairaudience, is telling them to speak it up. If it's too loud, tell them to turn it down a little bit. Say, look, that's a little too loud. It's overpowering. I can't do that. So can you just turn it down a bit? And it's the same when you're working with the clairvoyancy. If you're seeing too many images, too many video clips, it's all going too fast. Look, you're going too fast. I can't understand what you're showing me. Can you slow that down a little bit? Take your time. There's no rush here. Same with the feeling, which is clairsentient. So they're pressing upon you, but they're pressing upon you that much that it's making you feel unwell, as in your own physical body. Again, that could be because of the condition that they're trying to apply upon you. But what you could also say is look, that's too much. I don't really like you pushing on me that way. Don't do that as much. I know you're there. I can feel you. I feel your condition. There's no need to push on me so much like that. If it's not enough, tell them to turn it up so that you can pick it up. If it's with the knowing's an instant thing. You will either work on that clair or you won't, which is claircognizance. You'll either work on that clair or you won't. If it's clair empathy is compassion. It is feeling. It is emotion. And sometimes we can get over emotional when we're using clair empathy. It's like tears, and you then want to cry because that's how that spirit felt, or that loved one felt. Again, say to them, look, turn that down a little bit. It's a bit too much. Or if you want to feel it a bit more, can you push that on a little bit more so I can understand it? That is the best way to check with them clays. Is there any way to check the clays are working? Yeah, do the tests and things that I've given you. So here where you're telling them to turn it up or turn it down, you can do that with your guide. So say for example, do the letter thing that I did with my guides, which was for clear audience. Then you could even do this for clear buoyancy as well. So when you're doing clear audience, first and foremost, you want to be able to sort of hear your guides sort of relatively well. If you can't hear them too well, then ask them to turn it off, all right? Then when you are working with them, do the alphabet thing. So you don't want to say the letters, you don't want to feel them, you just want to hear them. So A, B, C, and then say to them, give a letter. So you're like sort of like running the alphabet. So it would be A, B, C. So A, B, C. Then you'd miss out, but he could maybe put Z in there, and then it might be D, E, and then it might be I. So you're constantly saying whether or not you can pick these letters out. But remember, these are just hearing. So you're hearing the letters. Do you understand? You're just hearing them. Then what you can do is then start making sort of words. So apple, back, cat. So like you would teach a child. Do you understand? It's this simple. And from that you can then build out and build out. So then you're having full blown. So the apple was green. So you then, and it was in a kitchen. So you're constantly building. This is how you build when you build a message for the spirit world. So say you get apple, you then get what more? Green, then kitchen. So you're constantly building, but it's just on a clear audience. So you're hearing the words. So whether it's you're hearing them in your mind, whether you're actually hearing them externally. If you're not hearing them externally, a lot of people don't, but some people do, and I can't get away from that. I have to train both ways. So if you're hearing them externally and it's a bit too loud, tell them to turn it down. If you can then adjust it so it's just how you want it, great stuff. Then build from that. Do you understand? If it's inside of your mind, you might hear the words running across your mind. You don't want to be saying them because you're trying to work on the clear audience link. Once you've got this managed, you've got this into a good place, then we can go to the clairvoyancy link. So let me help you with that. So let me have a look. Right. So if you were working on a clairvoyancy link, what we could do is work, and this is really good for when you're doing your mediumship work. So for example, instead of doing the letters one, what we could do is we could do certain sort of so again, we'll take the apple. I mean, my thingy is a bit naff, like, but so you the apple, but then maybe see the colour. So you don't want it to be green, because if it was green, then you would know it might be that an apple's green. So you're looking for an orange apple. So you're asking your guide to show you images. So he might pick an orange apple, or she may pick an orange apple, right? Do you understand? Even if Paul, I hope you well. But you don't know what he's picked or she's picked. So then he would then go back to you and you then go back and go, is that right? And then you can ask him to show you either yes or no. So is it written in gold words or what? Or has it got the white hairs round it, which is the psychic or mediumistic images? So he or she's giving you the images and you've got to guess them a bit like, you do flip cards with ends. It's a bit like that. And you're constantly doing a flip card of different images. Now, when you get the images, what you can do, when I first started out, is because my mediumship was quite new and I hadn't really done a lot with it, now I was giving the old grandmas and, these types of things. And not all of you now, bless you, have got the opportunity to be able to work all of them because we're striving so hard now for evidence. But when I used to get the old little granny, right, I would get cancer, but I would see the daffodil. So I knew that the symbol for cancer was daffodils. So I built in through my knowledge base set daffodils for cancer. Right, then I learned to be able to ask what the cancer was. So I would either smell it, because sometimes you can smell cancer. If for those who have maybe worked in the care or nursing industry, you'll understand what cancer is, or the smell that goes with cancer. I.e., sometimes when I smell like it smells like an off smell, like a chest infection. So anybody who has littlins or know what littlins have, it can be like a smell of like badness, like off the chest, which then leads me on to think that they've got some kind of connection to like either COPD, chest infection, cancer of the lungs, these types of things. So you're constantly building. Like when I get bubbles in water, right? Sometimes I see them. The bubbles in the water tells me I'm working with somebody who drowned to death. The drowning. But then I also may hear the water, so the water is running. So sometimes I can get it one of two ways. So sometimes I get a clairaudience. Sometimes I get a clairvoyancy. It just depends. But these are my symbols, on my understanding of how these people may have passed. And this is what I call about building your knowledge base set by doing flip cards. So i.e., when you're practicing or working, when you're working in open circles, there'll be certain symbols that you'll get. So when I get like a knife, I know I'm working with somebody, a knife, I'll put a sword, right? That's my knife, right? It's not very good, but you understand what I mean. But this tells me that I'm working with somebody who was stabbed to death. If I say you shotgun, I know I'm working with somebody who died of a shotgun. Do you know what I mean? So I'm building this constant knowledge base set of, sometimes I see them, sometimes I hear the shotgun go off, something like a bang of a shotgun. So sometimes I see it, sometimes I hear it. It just depends. Sometimes I feel it, like I feel the stab, like it'll be stabbed in my back or it'll be stabbed in my head, or I'll get this pain in my head. And by working these different clairs and playing with these different clairs, your guide can put all of this on, every bit of it, all these night feelings, all these shotguns, all these drownings, all these sort of unusual things, or these smells and things, because why would your guide not want to give you this information? So when you're working with the spirit world and you're doing messages, you already have this knowledge base at it. But what you don't want to do and what you don't want to get yourself excited about is that, yes, you may have done drowning, shotguns, cancer, whatever it is, but remember, every communication is different. No two communications are the same. So while, yes, you may get the daffodil, which was cancer, right? But then what you would then do is from that cancer link, you would then go, as soon as you knew that this, so say for example, you've seen the daffodil, you had to communicate, you had the lady come forward, so let me help you. We just clean this off, so you understand what I mean. So, can you all see? Right, so, let me just make sure that's right. So, we got the daffodil, right, there's the daffodil, okay? Now, this is all we got from our communicator. I'm going to use the black, because you might see the black. Can you see the black better? Yeah, you can see the black better. Right? Okay, so, what happens is, we've got the communicator, they've come forward, but they haven't told us who they are or anything like that, right? Nothing. All they've shown us is the daffodil. But inside your memory bank, you've already worked with your guides, and you know that this daffodil is going to tell you cancer. So what you then do is from the lady, here she is. Hello, love, nice to see you. All right, round face, nice bit of hair going on there. Very smiley woman she is. She's nice. She's a canny out here. Right, this is somebody's nana, right? But she hasn't told us that yet. There, can you all see a bit? Can you see? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There. Oh, you can now. Right, so here's the nana. She's give us this daffodil. Here's you, the medium, right? So here's you. Woo! You're excited. You've seen this symbol. You've seen it clairvoyantly, so you saw that. Right? So now we're going to go take our mind back to this lady who's standing at either the left-hand side or the right-hand side of you, depending on which way you're working. Okay? Ready? Are you ready? So, we're going to take our mind back to the lady and go, what's your story, love? What's your story, morning glory? Right? Question mark. She's then going to come back and give you more. So then she's going to give you the story of the cancer. So, because she's intelligent, she knows what she's doing, we've got cancer, she's going to then maybe give you a hospital, right? So you're starting to build the story of the hospital, of, where the hospital is. Now, from here, where she's maybe filtering more in, so from the hospital, she may give you Ward 6. So she was on Ward 6. What time did you go on to the ward? Now, you could get a little cheeky, but don't get too cheeky yet, because you might get a little confused. So let her do her story, let her tell her story. So she'll give you Ward 6, right? Okay, what's on Ward 6? Well, on Ward 6, there was tests run, and our Betty was there, right? And Betty is the daughter. Oh, okay. By this time, you're speaking. You should be speaking this to the congregation. Here they are. Right, I'm going to show you take that and all in a minute. So here's the congregation. Here's you on your rostrum. You're speaking. You should have already spoken the cancer. You should have spoken the house. You should have spoken the word. I'm not sure whether this is right, wrong, or indifferent. Speaking. But make sure you always ask. So you would be aware. So you would always say, so your nana is making me aware. She's telling you. Not you's telling. Not I feel, I do, I see, I know. It should be, so your nana makes me aware. She's telling you. She's showing you. She's making you feel. Do you understand? Right? So once we've got all of this and you've spoke that, and your wifey here she is in the congregation. She's now excited because you've got her little nana. She's like, yeah, you know. So then what happens is you've gone to her, you're speaking. She'd wait for your answers. Wait for the yeses. So once you've said yes, so your nana makes me aware that she would have passed with cancer. You then go to the woman, she goes, yes, I can take that. You're like, yes, right, so we go back here. It's a bit of a doodle mess, but you'll get it. So then she's all, by the time you've gotten your yes, the hospital's already come in, right? So then you then go and by this time she's already given you the hospital and the ward 6 and she was there with Betty. You then spoke that. You should be then speaking that. By this time you should be speaking that. She's then going, so you've gone back and spoke Betty in the hospital and all this, that, and the other. And she's going, yeah. And then this woman's going, yes, again, like this, right? You're like, yeah, this is going really, really well. So then what we can do is we can get a little cheeky. So then we can go back to the communicator and say, all right, give me something unique. Something unique about you. Right, which is the nana. So we want something unique about her. What was unique about all of this here that she's talked about? Because she isn't giving you, this is your story. She's already give you what you're looking for. She's already give you what you started with. Don't go searching for names and ages and all of this baloney. She's already give you your story. This is the story, the cancer. Always go with the first image, first word, first feeling you get, because that's your story. If you don't, what will happen is you'll drop the whole link, the whole lot will go pachong and on, and you'll have to go start on your structure. And you didn't want to be anywhere near any structure. Stick with your story. So what we can do is, as well, she's sorting herself out and all the rest of it, you can go back and ask her for something unique about this story. Now, what she's then probably going to tell you is that the cancer was bowel cancer. She had 6 months to live. She didn't tell anybody, and you're building this picture, this story out all the time from one simple image. And this here is so unique to your communicator. Why? Because she has the intelligence to know what to talk about to the communicator. You don't need the structure. Do you understand that? I know it looks a bit messy, and it doesn't look exactly ideal here. But do you get what I'm trying to say to you? Always go with your first image or the first word or the first thing that's given you and build. Push out. Don't ask any questions unless you've got more or less all of this here, and you can be a little cheeky and go back and ask her something unique to her, which is going to then probably filter in the bowel cancer, the story of the 6 months, how, she'd been to a birthday party 3 weeks before she passed to the spirit world, and how it was photographs taken and all this type of malarkey. Always go with your first image. Always go with what's important. Love how you teach and explain something. It makes sense. Well, because it's so simple. It's so simple. You've got no idea. I don't know why people make it so complicated. There's no need for it to be complicated. It's so simple. She's giving you what you're looking for. It's so simple. And all you've done, right? All you've done here. Let me show you what you've done. So all you've done, right? Let me let this dry. So, here, it's a bit wet back. Wait a minute, it has to dry a bit more. That's me scruffy cloth, by the way. So what you've done, let's get the black marker because the black one shows. So here's you, the medium. Right? Hey up. Happy days. We are a happy medium. Right? We're not a miserable medium, we're a happy medium. Why? Because we're good at what we do. We are excellent mediums. That's what you should be telling your little mind, because that's what's important. Now, Before Mrs. Nana come, right, so here's Mrs. Nana. She's waiting in a queue with all the other loved ones in the background. You're on the rostrum, right? Here's the rostrum, right? Or you're sitting or whatever. Now you've got rows of people. Most rostrums look like this, right? Now, let's take, so what's happening is you're on the rostrum. First thing out your mind is, right? Who's there? That's the first, you could ask that question. What's your relationship to the person? To the person? Or what's your story? Right? They're the three questions should get you up and off your mark. First thing. Alright? Or you could say, right, I'm ready to work. To work. Who's coming? Who's coming? You should be coming away if Nana, either through the feeling of her, so she's warm, or she feels like a female, or you may see her, you know what I mean? Or you might hear her, she might shout in mother, or Nana, or grandmother. So you straight away your mind's firing off, all off. Four questions. And you haven't even done any structure. There's no structure here, there's no nothing. Hello sweetheart, hello from Sweden. How you Sweden? Which I'm just in the middle. You just join us, won't you? Do you understand? You've got no structure, none whatsoever. Not one bit right here, right now, right? So she's give you this, and this. So then you're like, yes! You know what I mean? Happy days, right? So then she's on coming down, blending with the mind, da-di-da-di-da, all the rest of it. And then by this time, she start to filter all sorts of stuff into your mind. And all you've got to do is speak it. But always remember, statement, question, statement, question, statement, question. Do you understand all of that? Does it make sense? Always wait for your yeses, because otherwise you'll get lost in your conversation. So, for example, if you get a no, right, and you haven't been getting your yeses and your nos, if you give up a whole load of stuff, you're going to be lost, completely lost. The reason being, because you're not going to know where to go back to. If you give a load of, I've got my mother here and my mother's 65 and her story is that she worked in a factory and she worked on Banking Road and she this, that and the other. The communicator who's sitting here by the loved one is just going to look at you and go, what on earth are you talking about? What are you talking about? And you haven't got, because you've split off 5, 10, 15 bits of the story, you don't know whereabouts in the story you want to be. Do you understand? So basically, when you do step by step, so yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, then ultimately, should you get a no, you can go back to the yes, find out a bit more crack in the yes, and then go back with the extra information, repackage it, give it which makes it a yes. Job's a good one. Does everybody understand that? Understand? Now, let's talk about direct mediumship. So does everybody understand this? Any questions here on this, please? Any questions? Remember, when this lot up here, because she's the first one who's took your mind. She's the first lady who's taken your mind, this woman here, Nana. You've got all of these lot all bobbing around in the spirit world, waiting. They're waiting for you. They're waiting for her to finish so that they can then step in. These shouldn't be in a ball like these. You should have gone to your guide and put them all in a queue. They should all be queuing up like this. Not in a ball like this where they're all chatting amongst themselves and carrying a bit of selves on and just be naughty, right? What you need to be saying to your people who's overseeing all of this, by the way, let's put him in. So here he is, right? We'll just put a hat on him so we know he's a man. By the way, my stuff is absolutely atrocious here. He's overseeing all of this, your guide. But he's also watching all of these communicators here as well, and he should have the knowledge in him. You should have said to your guide, excuse me, Mr. Guide, you see them over there, they need to all be in an orderly fashion, they don't need to be talking amongst themselves, and they shouldn't be interfering in my communication, because you ain't got time when you're on this floor to be trying to see to this, and see to this. You ain't Wonder Woman, you ain't Wonder Man. You ain't that clever. I'm sorry, Roland. If you think you are, then good luck to that one. Because then you're interfering and you shouldn't be. He's doing his job. Let him do his job. He'll line these all up. They they'll all come in really, really nicely. She'll step out and your new communicator will come in. She'll go off and be happy because she's spoke to her loved one down here. And then your new communicator will come in. He's overseeing all of this. And he's got them all nicely lined up. They're not all pushing and shoving. They don't need to be pushing and shoving because he's going, how you misbehave, you go back to the spirit world. We're not putting up with that kind of nonsense. Do you understand? Does this all make sense? I hope it does. So, any questions? I get very excited. Can you not tell? I get very excited. I love it. I love it. Any questions? Because it's so simple and it's so easy and people make it really, really complicated. You've got yourself into the spirit world. She's give you the image. You just go from that and just build the story from the image. So I don't know, she might give you a purse. Talk about the purse. So she'd give you a purse. Right, what's the crack with the purse? Colour of the purse. Why is she giving you the purse? She's giving you this purse because it's important. She knows what's important. It doesn't. They have to queue up. It's entirely up to them. They need to get in a queue and they need to be in an orderly fashion. God doesn't dictate who comes in. It's just the way that they queue up. It's up to them who comes in, who gets a hold of the medium's mind in the queue. Do you understand that? It doesn't have to be queued up like that, but they have to be queued up enough. What could happen and what will happen is that even if they're queued up like this one at the bottom will get your mind. Because that's where your mind's gone to. Do you understand? But they have to be organised in an orderly fashion. Doesn't mean they come in like this. It just means that they're orderly in a fashion so that not everybody's screaming and shouting in order to get your mind. Whether in an orderly queue like this, it is then up to me as my mind as to which one out of the queue shouts first and which one my mind will go to first. But they should still be organised and in an orderly fashion. When they're all mumble-jumbled like this, you don't know which one's talking and which one's not talking. So your mind's going into this bundle of jumble, trying to work out who's shouting first and who's not shouting. Where these things are an orderly clue. When they shout, you can then work out who's shouting and who's not shouting. When they're like a bundle of mess like this, you can't work out whether they're talking to them, they could be talking to them. And then they could all be talking to you. Well, at least this way, at least if they're an ordinary crew, even though they are all there, they're all standing quietly and they'll shout and it'll be up to my mind as to who my mind goes to. Do you understand that? Does it all make sense? Like the diagram's absolutely not. Any questions? Because we're going to move on to Take That. I love Take That. Take That, you're going to have such a giggle here. Are you ready? Because it's fun. And this is how easy it is. This is how easy it is, and people are making it so majorly confusing and strong and hard, and there's just no need at all, none at all. You know, it's so simple. It's like child's play, and all you do is just keep pushing out on the story, pushing out. You get stuck, then you start asking your questions, but not the structured questions. You just go back when it goes quiet and go, what else do you want to talk about? What else is in your story? What else is important here? Not the structure. Stay away from the structure. They're the kinds of questions. What's the story? What more do you want to talk about? What's important here? What's unique in this story? Why is it you giving me that? You know what I mean? They're the questions, not how old are you, or, you know, what's this and what's that? That's not important. What's important is the purse that she's give you because there's something in the purse she wants to talk about. Any questions? I'm eating, Dana. I'm loving it. Right. If not, then let's go to Take That. Take That means I'm gonna love this one. So, for them who work the rostrum, and them who work non-direct, which is fishing as far as I'm concerned, and them who work direct. So, here we go. That board, I'll need a proper clean later, but it'll be alright for now. So, when you are the medium, and we have all of them other bits and pieces in place that we have in place, why do other teachers make it so complicated? They explain more than you will explain more in the last 10 minutes than I've been told in the last 12 years I'm involved. You know, it's just the way I teach, it's just the way I do it, it's just the way I find is easy for me. Does that make sense? It's simple. I don't like to overcomplicate it. I don't like to make it hard, if that makes sense, Paul. It doesn't have to be hard. It's so simple. You don't need the structure. You don't need these things. All you have to do is just say, what's your story? And then when the best thing to do is you'll now, when the story's starting to run out, because you'll feel it, that they'll slow down in talking, or the images will stop showing. You're like, right. So through practice and through time, you become aware of the subtle changes of the energy. The energy will sort of differ. The blend will start to sort of slow, and you'll know they're getting ready to move off, or it's getting ready to the end of the message, or whatever. And it's just through learning to work with that energy and feeling that energy, feeling it, feeling that love one. My advice: become that loved one. When you stand on that, become them. Live inside them for that 10 minutes. They're becoming your best friend. It's like my congregation. When I work with my congregation, they're my friends for the next hour and a half. It's like my new best bud. It's like, hi, you're going to be friends for the next hour and a half. You know what I mean? You're all going to be standing with me here. You just become the communicator, and you live it as if you're living them. If that makes sense, you live it if you're living them. So let's talk about direct mediumship. So let's go with the throughout mediumship first. So here we go. So here's Danielle on the rostrum. There she is. Happy as ever. Loves the rostrum, does Danielle. It's very excited. Right. Here's the rostrum. As we all know, I'm a direct medium. So before we go any further, if we use the intelligence of the spirit world, as we just have, okay, the intelligence of the spirit world knows that Danielle's going to be working tonight, because them in the spirit world have been talking about it for, I don't know, however many days, or, these types of things. And they're very aware of where my mind is, and, all these communicators are sort of lined up nicely, waiting to see if my mind's going to take this one, or if it's going to take that one, or it's going to take that one. Just depends. Depends on who shouts first, depends on who my mind registers with at that time. So, with direct mediumship, if we use the intelligence of the spirit world, everybody, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, all these people all here, right? These are all loved ones, all hoping for a message tonight from Danielle. Very excited, all buzzing, right? So, if we use the intelligence of the spirit world, everybody's loved one is all in this room. So this is the church. Everybody's loved one is in this room. Everyone. So, I have my choice of 40 communicators who are all lined up very, very nicely, being good little soldiers, because the spirit world are good like that. You know what I mean? So, I'll pick my communicator, and I will then say to my communicator, now, if you're working direct, there's a couple of ways. There's the clairvoyance link, the clairvoyance. There's clairaudience. Then there's also clairsentience, which is feeling. Claircognilian won't come into play here. What we're really looking for is clairaudience when you're doing direct mediumship. You can use clairvoyance, but it has to be the image in which that you get, or the images in which that your mind is drawn to, have to have the right static around them. That is a spirit, clairvoyant, mediumistic link or image, alright? If it's not, and it ain't got that image around it, it's psychic. You don't know what to do with psychic, stay away from it, right? Clairaudience. So, clairaudience, this communicator is Dad. He's taken my mind first, so here comes Dad. Dad's saying to me, in my mind, second row, third in. So I want to be second row, third in, right? And then I'm going to start and give my evidence. Now, because of the fact that he's directed me there and he's told me to go there, I know for a fine fact that that's going to be about right. There ain't going to be a lot of room for manoeuvre in this. Now, this takes a bit of confidence, and you've got to be trusting what you're hearing and what you understand. You've got to sort of get it, you know what I mean? You've got to sort of understand it. Now, let's do, so that is how you would do clairaudience. You're listening to hear the communicator. And it is important, and we do not as mediums listen enough to the spirit world. We are too busy trying to tell the spirit world what to do instead of allowing the spirit world to tell us what to do, okay? So learning to listen to the spirit world through working with the spirit guides, learning to do the techniques and things that I've shown you will build your relationship with your guides, which then in turn builds your relationship with the spirit world. So, when we get back to clairvoyance, so this is how you would do a clairaudience direct link. Now, if you want to do clairvoyancy, remember, it has to be the spirit image. The spirit image has to have the stuff round, right? If that is the case, and that is shown to your mind from Dad as well, and he shows you, he wants to be over here with the lady on the second row. He may give you an image of her cardigan. So I don't know, say for example, she's wearing a pink cardigan. And he shows you a pink cardigan. Now, what the problem may lie here is there may also be another lady on the same row, or on the back row, with the same pink cardigan on. So you have to be very specific. So when you would do that, you then have to go back because you've got two identical. So the link's the same at the minute. You haven't been able to separate it. You need to go back to him and say, I need another image from you in order to be able to place which one it's going to be. He may then show you, I don't know, that this particular communicator here has only got one finger. Now that is a bit extreme, but you know, it can happen, That would wipe out this communicator. It would wipe him out. But we could then also have a problem because of the fact that this lady's also got one finger too. So you've still got the double link. You've still got the two communicators. So this is where you have to go back to your communicator and say, right, give me something that's going to split this link. I need something from you. Now, what you may get over time doing clairvoyancy, direct mediumship, is light bulbs above people's heads of the communicators. If you're a good clairvoyant medium, you may get to see light bulbs above heads, or you may actually see the communicator standing behind the person. That is also you could see, I used to see hands on shoulders, so I used to see fingers. So when I wanted to be with a clairvoyant link, I used to see fingers on the hands of the shoulders of the loved one that I needed to be with, right? There's lots of different symbols, techniques that you could put in order for this clairvoyance direct link to work. But that takes time and practice, and it only happens through practicing. This ain't going to happen overnight. It ain't. Clairsentience, you've got to be careful with clairsentience, and I'm going to tell you why you need to be careful when you're doing any sort of connection to that. But again, let me finish the double link. So if we go with the double link and we still don't know which community we want, we need a sign, we need a symbol to be able to eliminate one of these two communicators. Now, it could be that it comes in again on a clairaudience link, which he tells you need to be on the second row. So the second row, okay? And what we would really like to see here now is either a name or something that is unique to these two communicators. So i.e. maybe a memory that neither one of these are going to understand. You are looking always to eliminate one of these communicators. Now you could do it with the feeling of the energy. So i.e. it may go blank. So that sometimes happens to me when I do direct mediumship and I'm with the wrong communicator. My mind will just go completely blank. It's as if like somebody switched the lights off and everything's just gone, doo, and it's just like, oh my God, what on earth is going on here? And that's when I'm not in the right place. So then I know for a fine fact I need to either go back to spirit world and say, right, which one? Or I need to adjust my mediumship in order so that it will go to the right communicator. That could be one of the reasons. Or what you could see is the feel of the energy. Again, working with this energy, you will feel the subtle differences. I work on voice vibration. So sometimes when my communicator is talking to me and I'm listening, and this one's talking to me, it can feel like it's wrong. But that doesn't always work because that isn't completely where I want it to be. I'm still working on that voice vibration. Because sometimes my conscious mind packs in. And because
take that. Now this is where we're going to take that and throw out mediumship. Are you ready? Are you ready? So, take that. So we've got Robbie over here from Take That. We've got Gary over here from Take That. Now we all know what a Take That is. A Take That is anybody and everybody who sits in the congregation and will take anything that comes out of a medium's mind. Now hands up, how many of you have been to a rostrum or something like that where you've seen that go on? Please. And I'm going to wait for you to answer me. Keep it simple. Yeah. How many of you have been to a floor demonstration or been to a rostrum and the lady's going, I can take that, I can take that, I know who this is, I know who this is. And we all get them, all of them, right? Now the problem here with all of this in non-direct mediumship is you're guaranteed that Take That is going to take whatever's coming out your mouth. And if we work with the intelligence of every loved one and communicator is in the room. So even if you have this gentleman here, Dad, who we've been trying to place with these two ladies, right, and even though he's placed now and all the rest of it, but we'll just use him as an example, what would happen here is you would start throwing out information. Robbie Take That's going, I can take that. And Gary, this one here, Gary, is also saying, I can take that too. I can take that, I can take that. So then what happens is the original communicator, which was Dad here, bearing in mind everybody's loved one is in this room. Think about it. They're all sitting here. Now, there is a lot of similarities with mediumship. So a lot of people die of cancer, a lot of people die in different sort of circumstances. Unless you're getting really unusual links, like I've asked somebody that he died in a bomb explosion or something, you know what I mean? Like something weird, something a little bit different, something a little bit unusual, right? Sometimes there's certain information, especially when we're working here, as we're shown with the direct mediumship, you're looking for something to break the link, right? If, for whatever reasons and whatever happens here is that she's taking it and she's taking it, right? So again, you've got two communicators. All the evidence is quite similar, but remember, her two communicators are also sitting in here. So really now you've added 3 communicators to the one, right? Now what's going to happen here is this one who originally had the medium's mind will become null and void, and because this Take That here is going, I can take that, I can take that, her loved one will then step in and take the medium's mind, which ultimately rules out the original communicator, and that communicator will be pushed back. Because the spirit world will not allow a communication, nor will they allow anything to go wrong. So they will always bring their loved one in order to feed in to this medium, to this particular communicator. That's why direct mediumship is far better than throughout mediumship. Because throughout mediumship can be taken, and even if it is a little bit wrong or a little bit sort of dodgy or whatever it may be, eventually their loved ones step in. And it all goes swimmingly well thereafter, and the original communicator gets pushed out. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you understand all of that? And I lost my pen. And because Take That and Take That will take anything, even if it doesn't naturally place with them, they will still, their communicator from the spirit world is in the room. They're there. It's a no-brainer. Of course that communicator is going to step in, because this communicator isn't in the right place. So their loved ones are automatically going to take it. And on a clairsentience link, yeah, I can do that. On a clairsentience link, what Take That? Robbie here shouting, I want a message. I want a message. I want a message. Which what happens is if you're working on a clairsentience link, which is coming from the solar plexus, they're pulling off your solar plexus. Pulling. So what happens is you're constantly being pulled on the psychic link. Do you understand that? Off the clairsentience. So direct mediumship isn't always great coming from a clairsentience link, because ultimately Take That and Take That are pulling you, and everybody else in this room is also pulling you on that psychic link, because clairsentience is coming from the solar plexus, which is pulling. And when people are pushing their thoughts up going, I want a message, I can take that, even if it's not theirs or they can only take some of it, they're starting to draw you from this area. Do you understand? So what I do is just switch this area up altogether. I don't even go there. Why? Because I don't want my sitters to be pulling me. My communicator will take me to where I need to be, because the intelligence of the spirit world is smart enough to know where they need to be in the room. They will do, yeah. Because most people, even on open circles, so let's talk about open circles. Open circles are a training ground for mediums, buddha mediums, anybody who's interested in spiritualism or maybe just looking to get a message. You can have a lot of mediums working in an open circle. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you want a lot of mediums. Well, you don't want a lot of mediums, but you want mediums working. That's the whole point of it. But what tends to happen is because, most mediums are not developed or are developing. That's why they're sitting in a circle. Most of them, they're sitting in a circle. But it's overwhelming. Can be, yeah. They're sitting in an open circle, right? Why are they sitting in the open circle? Because they're developing their mediumship. Their mediumship, right? You can see I've got nurse and handwriting, by the way. What tends to happen is most mediums are still trying to work out their sensitivity. They're still trying to work out what clarions they're working on, if and how this medium is working, right? So Adam and I, here's Joe blogs. I read Joe how's things hanging the day. Joe's decided he's going to have a look at Adam now. He's got a few hairs. Right, anyway. So Joe has decided that he's going to go to an open circle, right? Joe's thinking, I know I've got something going on with mediumship. I'm not sure whether it's psychic or mediumship at the moment, but I'm going to go to this open circle and find out because I'm really looking to develop it. As is 5 other mediums who are all going the same night, all with the same problem. Oh, well, not problems, they're all developing. They're all learning, they're all understanding their ability, their energy, X, Y, and Z. What most of them haven't got is discipline of the mind. So when your mind isn't disciplined as a medium, you're constantly pushing your stuff, or they're pushing their stuff onto you. Like this. Right? So it becomes like a two-way street, if that makes sense. So you're feeding off their energy, they're feeding off your energy is not your own, and their energy is not their own, because they're constantly sort of pushing and pulling off each and every one, because everybody's sensories are all heightened and all going over there, because they're developing mediums. They're still trying to understand what the sensory system's doing, how the sensory system works, how I can develop this, how I can develop that, how can I get this clarion right, how can I make it better, how can I get better evidence, how can I do this, how can I do that. Billion, zillion questions all running through your mind. Most mediums, when they first start out, will connect on a psychic link. Why? Because they're drawn by the sitter. Here's the sitter. Sitter's you and me. I'm not working tonight, I'm just reading. I'm just demonstrating. This is the sitter. So the sitter is pulling you on a psychic link, right? Psychic. For a message, even though you don't have the communicator there. Best way to do this, or the best way to nail that, is wait for your communicator to join you. Join your mind. Whether you see them, whether you hear them, whether you know they're there, whether you smell them, whatever it may be. You won't get any of that psychic. You won't get any of these on a psychic link. All you'll get is the images. But the images will be box standard. They won't be the white images. They'll just be psychic images. You'll not have heard anything. You'll not have seen anything. Because you're seeing the psychic energy which is coming off the woman, off her auric field, because she's looking for her mother. Do you understand? Where if you wait for your communicator, once you have your communicator, then you can go back and say, what's your story? What's the crack? What you doing here? You know, tell me all about you. Why have you come tonight? There's a zillion questions you can ask without even getting the structure in there. Does that all make sense? Circles drain people, not intentionally. It's just because nobody's got their own energy under control. Nobody's looking after your energy, but you is the medium. Your energy is important to you. Nobody's taking care of your mental space, your energy, or anything else other than you. These here aren't interested in you. They're interested in them. Please don't take that as offense, because I'm not trying to say that. because each medium can learn something from another medium. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is when it comes to working, people are interested in their mediumship and what they can gain from their mediumship. Do you understand all of that? This is fascinating. Do you like it? Good. I tell you what it is, Matt. I think I need to get into some art classes or something. But do you understand what I'm trying to get over to you? Like the fact that you need to keep an eye on, and the best way to keep an eye on your energy is to say intentionally, my energy is mine, it belongs to me. And I don't work on a psychic link. So when you find the guide, you go to the guide and go, I don't work on psychic link, I just work mediumistically. That's all I work on, mediumistically. I don't work psychically. There's a difference, but I don't read auric fields. I don't use that psychic ability. I wait for my communicator. My information comes from my communicator. I do not start speaking until I know my communicator is there with me. Whether it be that you need to add a mechanic in. When I first started out, I used to have to see a hand on the shoulder, so I know that my communicator had linked to me and knew that the communicator was there. Now I don't need that mechanic. You might have to smell them, or you might have to see a word, or you might have to feel something. It's whatever you need to get you where you need to be. Remember, these can all be taken out given time. When you're the good medium, sometimes you need these little bits and bobs in just to make you feel safe. As you get further down the path, we can eliminate this. There's no problem with that. We don't need to be perfect right at the very beginning. We just need to have a little bit of something to get us where we need to be. And that's okay. There's no problem there with that. You know, don't get caught up in seeing people say, oh, well, you must do it this way and it's got to be done that way. Do it your way. These are just ideas. This is just help. I'm just trying to give you hints and tips, you know what I mean, of how it is that you can do it. I'm not saying it's got to be done like this. All I'm trying to show you is that it can be done the simplest, easiest way without even getting yourself into it and muddle. Your mediums can go muddle and start panicking because they think that they're doing something wrong and they're not. And just allowing the story to unfold will help your mediumship to move forward. You know what I mean? If you want the names, then ask for the names. You're not always guaranteed to get it. So what you're better off doing is staying with the communicator and letting the communicator tell you what they feel is important to their loved one. When we get round to it, we can then, as you move this storytelling on, you can maybe slot a couple of little sneaky ones in there. Or what's your name? Can you tell us your name? Or can I have a name of the family or whatever? Or what's your street name or whatever? They're clued up enough to know what they want to talk about. But when we go over the circles, be mindful of your energy. Be mindful of what's going on. Be mindful of who you're sitting with, where you sit with. Not that there's anything wrong with anybody. There's no such thing as evil spirits as we spoke about. There's no such thing as darkness. There's no such thing as entities. There's no such thing as this type of, people are only negative because of the vibration of which that they're admitting where their mind is. How positive are you? Where is your mind frame? Are you in a good place? If you're not, then check in with the mind. Get the mind into a good place, which will help your mediumship. If you're in a good place, your mediumship's in a good place. If your mediumship's in a good place, you're speaking good evidence. Because that's the way it works. It's all thought-based. Each and every living thing to do with the spirit world is thought-based. No more, no less. And I can prove it time and time again. Well, then you haven't got your mind disciplined enough, Paul. You're struggling to get you in the zone and switch my mind off because you live in the altered state, which is what I was talking about right early on in the video or the stream here this evening. We have mediums who live more or less half in the spirit world and half on the earth plane. They haven't learned to come out of the spirit world. What a lot of mediums, or I hear a lot of mediums say, well, if I come out of the spirit world, I'll lose my ability. My ability will leave us and I'll have no ability left. Once you have an ability, how can you lose something? Once you have it, how can you lose something you once had? All it can do is get better. It's like people like Chantal never say to me, my guides and stuff have step back. How can they step back when you already have them there to start with? They can't go anywhere because you haven't told them to go anywhere. The guides won't leave you unless you're telling them to get lost. It's the same with when you're living between two worlds. When you're living between two worlds, you become hypersensitive. You don't understand what's yours and what's not yours. And learning to discipline the mind, it's not about having structure in the mind. It's about learning to accept that you've walked yourself into the spirit world. So when you stand on that one-to-one or you get on that floor demonstration, the first words out of your mind is, I'm working for the spirit world. Who's there? Let them in. Instant. You're in the spirit world. You should be becoming aware of whoever it is that's coming forward. If that's the case and that's all that's needed to be done, then that's fine, and they'll tell you the story and they'll run it through. Once you're finished, you need to come out and go, right, I'm done, I'm finished. And don't go back in there, because too many people go back into the spirit world, which then opens you back up. Instead of just saying, right, learning to make a decision and stick to it. Once you say you're finished and working with the spirit world, that's it, you're finished, no more. Yeah, I get images. So does everybody understand what's being said? I could die for a cup of tea. Does everybody understand what's being said here? Honestly, I just want you to understand how easy it is. Video clips, when we talk about video clips, I'll run on a reel. I'm the only one here who's not a medium or is in training. I'm just very interested. No, I think there's a lot of yous. Yeah, I think there's a lot of yous just watching. There's a fair few of them who's watching, but aren't commenting, but just watching. And it's like, so let's talk about your video clips. So I've got a couple in here who's talking about video clips normally come in reels, right? So like this. So you'll have the woman, then you'll have another clip. You two get video clips, you know, are proper, because you're lucky. My hubby's put the kettle on. I don't know if our Wabby's in. Hold up a minute. Abby? No, must have gone out. She's gone out with her friends. Anyway, so you've got like, so then they're like this. So with video clips, the thing with video clips, Katha, I'm the same. I know somebody could have put me a cup of tea on. So when you're doing video clips, you're fortunate because you already have the story. So you haven't even have to ask, what's your story? You with the video clips, you lucky so-and-sos. Most of us mediums are trying to get there. So we've asked, so when we go on a restaurant or do one-to-one, first words is we're working for the spirit world now. We're working for the spirit world. Right? Then we'll go to working for the spirit world, let them in, so let the people in, so let the people in, right? Then we'll become aware of a person. Then we're saying, what's the story, morning glory? I love that song, it's a Oasis song, right? So them who's already got the video clips have already got here, they're working, you are working back to front. So Kerry and them are working back to front. Thirsty wet this Lynn. I was me for you, lot. Excuse me, my bad chest. I said, fuck you, day. Anyway, so getting back to the story in hand. So basically, straight away, them who's got this video clips here, you've already got your story well done. You've already made it there. Yippee, yippee, you know what I mean? But for us who's the ordinary medium, we're trying to get, that's where we're trying to get from here to here. But you've already bypassed 1, 2, 3 step. And you're already at number 4 step. Right? So when you're at number 4 step, you're seeing this. So then you've got this with the woman, then you've got the woman on the table, then you've got another one with the woman, wait a minute, and somebody at the table with the man, right? So here's your video clips, they're starting. So you're already seeing them. Now these might go on a loop, like this, so they're just going round and round, you know, but adding more and more because the communicator is still there, but they're feeding more and more clips in, right? So what we need to do here is we need to say to, in our mind, remember everything's mind-based. Danielle, you should make yourself fast up. Yeah, I should. So everything's mind-based, right? Everything. So remember, everything's thought-based. We're thinking, right? So what happens is when we think, we then need to say in our minds, excuse me, Mr. Communicator, because we don't know who we are yet. Can you please, one, slow it down so I understand it, to slow these clips down, because you're probably going to have a load of them in a reel, just like this, right? This is your story. So the story's going round, and round, and round, right? So what we need to do is we need to slow it down. And then we need to also pick out which bits is going to be most important to the communicator. Here's a communicator. Yay! Happy days. So she's got a hammer with her. She's got the kiddies and that with her. She's a happy woman, right? Anyway, so we need to slow this down because ultimately, one, it's going too fast for your mind to be able to understand, right? So then what we need to do is then we need to go back to the community, right? Slow it down and give me the clip good as well there. Clip. Yeah, the clip that is most important to the communicator. Then you start the story. So all of this that's playing around, even though it's probably relevant, isn't as relevant as the major clip that this communicator is going to give you. Once you get the major clip, or we could do it another way because my guys have put that in there as well. When you see these first three, these are your main bit of the story. So whatever in the first 3-4 clips you see is normally going to be your story, right? Now, if they've gone speeding past them, we need to slow them down and go back and ask for what the original clips were, because they will bring them back in, depending on how open your mind is, of course. But if your mind's open enough to take this, and it's open enough to take that and all, right? So then we give that to the woman, and then what will happen is the clip will start to change, so that you're then feeding in, the communicator then feeding the medium's mind what this communicator needs. But then what happens is you're working back to front, so you've already got your story. So what's going to happen is you're probably going to talk about your story, then in from the story's going to come in who's feeding it, which is the person, a man or woman or whatever, and then you don't even need to do these two. Oh, crap. I lost my pen. You don't even need to do these 2 steps because you're already there. You lucky so-and-sos. Every other medium's grafting to get here. Do you understand? All make sense? Is it the living we need to be scared of, not the dead? You eat their cat, yeah, move so fast. But then you need to tell them to slow down. You're always in control. Is the medium. You're always in control. Always. I'm clamoring for a cup of tea. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? Any questions? Any questions, folks? I get scared it goes so fast, but then you tell them to slow it down. You're in control. You're always in control of your mediumship, of your energy, of your mind. People seem to think that it's the spirit world. And while yes, the spirit world are in control of some things, in the lighting up of the communicators, of boundaries in which that we may want to put in. Stick the kettle on down. Well, wait, I'm gonna actually, are we staying for a bit longer? Yeah? Right, well, let me go and put the kettle on then. So, you have to understand that while the spirit world, and I am going to talk about how much of the spirit world's involved in the communications and how much you're involved in the communication, but you are ultimately always in control because it's your mind, it's your body, and it's your understanding. And they will slow it down to make life easier for you. Alright? Everybody stick the kettle on. I'll be 2 minutes. I'm going to turn that heat off now. It's loving me.
Right, I'm back.
How are we getting on? Right. So James is asking me, what's your biggest audience, and does it get more difficult the audience is bigger? I would say, I think we'll have a spirit tea party. Sounds like a plan, Galaxy Girl. Thanks, Dan. We'll open my mind up more. Yeah, you definitely need to keep your mind as open as possible. With connections, chucky bitty, aye, definitely. So James is asking, what's your biggest audience? My biggest audience was 200 people, James. And that was at my home church, Seaham. What I will say to you is that, does it make it any difference? A lot of people say mediumship's got to do with confidence, and I would agree to an extent that is true. Yeah, it is true. I would agree to that. But I also have seen mediums who don't speak that much or don't give a great deal, give off even more evidence, if that makes sense. So I don't always think that confidence is everything. I think it helps you to pull for the bigger link or look for that more interested communicator. Yeah, I would maybe agree to that. But it's whether or not you're intimidated. You know, I mean, I hear a lot of stories of like mediums pinching people's links and, you know, mediums doing this and people interfering. Really, nobody can pinch anybody's link when you're working for the spirit world, because the spirit world's with you, not with the people in the congregation. It's because of the fact that you get nervous because either there's a medium in the room that you know, or you just feel intimidated by the room. You see, me personally, James, I'm not intimidated by much. I'm not. I've got to be honest with you on that one. There ain't a lot of people who do intimidate me. For a woman anyway, for a girl. You know, I should really have been a fella, I think. I mean, there's certain things that bother me. Why? Because we're all, you know, we've all got our own issues or our own problems or whatever that may be. But for me, working big rooms, I have no interest, I have no problem with that. One, because I trust in my people enough. Two, I trust in the man that works with me implicitly. You know, he's my rock. And this is why I talk so fundamentally about gaining this relationship with your guide. It's important, gaining this understanding with your guide, working with your guide. It is so important. Yet people have yet to understand that by having this one, it's having that relationship with that guide is really, really important, James, for me personally. But do I find bigger audiences difficult? No, I actually thrive in them rooms. Do you know what I don't like? When the room's like deadly quiet. I hate it. I hate quietness. But that's probably because I'm always talking. You know what I mean? My gob never stops. But for me personally, I don't really like quiet rooms. I don't like. And I have had to learn over the last, I would say, 18 months, is to quieten my mediumship down a little bit. And not my mediumship, but quieten me down a little, so I can hear them other communicators who aren't as maybe as loud as some of the others that take my mind. Do you understand that? Because ultimately there is certain communicators in the spirit world whose voices are sometimes missed because they're not as loudly shouting as the others in the queue. Do you understand? So you might have 10 in the queue here, James, who are all very sort of, 8 of them might be quite outspoken, but then you may have one who's quite quiet. And if the medium mind has to be eligible to be able to work a diverse range of personalities, if that makes sense. So for the quiet personality to the really loud, outrageous sort of personality, to the quite exotic or very erotic personality. So because each personality is different in its own unique right. Do you understand that? So the more open your mind is to the different personalities and how much you're listening, because you have to be listening to the spirit world, is so important. It really is important. And the only way to do that is by building a relationship with your guide, by doing the techniques in the exercise I've given in this live stream, which helps you to strengthen relationship with your guide, which makes you listen to the spirit world, which means you're listening to your guide, which means you're listening to the communicators. But do big audiences scare me? Nah. 200 was my biggest one, and that was the one at my home church in Seaham there. Paul saying I've seen her a few years ago, and she 5'4", and the best means I've seen literally hundreds and thousands up and down the county here. I live in Canterbury in South Shields. Oh, bless you, Paul. Cheers for that. You know, I just do my thing, Paul. That's all I do. Nah, I didn't think I'm any better than anybody else. I didn't think anybody's any better than me. I just do my work to the best of my ability and hope that it's enough. My work's not for me. It's for the spirit world. That's how I look at it. It's not about me. I'm just a woman who stands in the middle. That's all it is. It's just that I stand in the middle and give off the information that's given to me. I don't interfere too much. Nothing. You need bother, Paul. Need bother at all. If I can help anybody, I will. If I can do it. If I can help a medium move forward and not feel so stuck, then I will always endeavour to do that. I'll always help to train whoever I can, or maybe a lot of people don't agree with my knowledge, and I'm sure there'll be a few out there that don't. But nowadays I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? I used to give a shit. Now I don't give a shit one bit because I'm going to be who I want to be because that's who my guides tell me to be. And I don't think any knowledge is bad knowledge. I just think I don't think any teaching is bad teaching. It just shows you what you don't want from what you do want. And I don't think that your credentials, and while I understand people have studied in that field, I haven't got a diploma in mediumship. That doesn't make me any better than the average Joe down the road because I've got credentials. My knowledge or their knowledge is just as invaluable as anybody else. If they've sat for that knowledge and they've worked for that knowledge and they've worked with their team and their guides, then their knowledge is just as valuable as anybody else. And sharing knowledge, I'm saying less and less of sharing knowledge unless you're paying for it. I'm saying a lot of that, unless you're paying for it. No one really wants to share anything with you. And I mean, there's girls, I give girls free workshops, I've done any amount of free training. Why? Because I'm more interested, Paul. Your evidence is so clear and concise straight down there. That's how I like it to be, because I don't get involved. But I just want to see better evidence, and I want to see better mediumship out there. And if that means I've got to train people for now, well, then that's the way it's got to be. Do you know what I mean? That's the way it is. And that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I'm not in mediumship for the money. I'm in mediumship because I genuinely... I love the spirit world, and I love to see new mediums, and I love to see passion, and I love to see things really. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. It's like a calling, and it probably sounds really stupid that but just like my soul's like talking, like it's as if this is what you're supposed to be doing, and like this is where you're supposed to be. And for a lot of years, Paul, I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know now it seemed to fit. You know what I mean? It was like. I did nursing for many years. I did different jobs. I worked as a seamstress. I've done lots of different jobs, cleaning, whatever it may be. But none of them really sort of fit. Does that make sense? It never seemed. And then I did mediumship, and yet it just feels like it's like it's home, Paul. That's what it feels like. It's home. It's the weirdest thing. It's meant to be. I just put the medium down as I wanted to be a medium. They don't want to charge and said it would spoil it for everyone else. I was curious. I just put the medium. As I wanted to be a medium but didn't want to charge. Do you know what's the advice for the best? What's my best advice? Right. Do you know, Paul, I've had a couple of run-ins with some different mediums over the last few years and stuff, and they all have a different viewpoint, unfortunately, and that's okay. And like I said, if you had 10 mediums all stood in a row, Paul, they would all see the spirit world differently, each and every one of them, unfortunately. And we're all trained differently because every medium's different, every communicator is unique, everybody's different in their own right. And this is where I see like a lot of people go, that their work's not. But then what we should be saying is right, their work's not really. You have to ask what the standard is as well. Like, what is the standard? Like, who set the standard here? Did the spirit world set the standard, or did the human set the standard? That's the question you have to ask. They're the questions that I ask myself. Who set the standard, the medium or the spirit world? Who sets the credentials, the medium or the spirit world? Because as far as I was aware, the spirit world's free. And I understand we have to prove survival, but there's many different ways of proving survival. We don't have to be given the street names, the house names, the doors, these types of things. There's many different ways of proving survival. No one is no right, no one is no wrong, yet we seem to frown upon any medium who is what we would class as lukewarm evidence. Do you understand that? And I talk about this in my videos and stuff quite a lot, is the fact that, what is lukewarm evidence to you is not lukewarm evidence to the sitter sitting in the seat. And who am I to judge what my communicator wants to give me? Because my communicator is just giving me what you hear so much about this intelligence of the spirit world. I hear them banging on about it, and I think, well, if that's such the case, then why don't you trust enough in the fact that they're going to bring through what's important for the communicator, for the loved one? Do you understand that? What's the advice for getting the best blend possible with the communicator? The best possible blend. For me personally, many years ago, is it Mia, I hope I've got your name there right, please, to take my apologies. For many years, Mia, I did a lot of what other people or other mediums did, which was, sitting, maybe pulling my links before I got to a demonstration or a one. And you know what I would say is the best thing, Mia, is trust. Trust, and you will look at me and think, well, there's got to be more to it, Danielle. There's got to be more to that. Like, nah, can it be like that? It's trust. Trusting in Mia, trusting in you as the medium. So here's you as the medium, darling, alright? Trusting in your communicator will blend with your mind and give you everything that you need. And when you trust in the spirit world, you trust in yourself, and you trust what it is that you speak. I believe that, Mia, is when your blessed blend will come from the spirit world. Because if you look at it, it is a blend. If you look at it, communication through your mind, through you, and speaking out. And when you don't not trust, your conscious mind is constantly interfering here. Where if you trust Mia, it will run so fluently, it'll be effortless. But you will look at me and go, that can't be possible, Danielle. There's got to be some kind of mechanic out there. There's got to be some kind of technique. There's got to be some kind of this, that, and the other. And the biggest technique or the biggest mechanic or the biggest thing I can give you, Mia, I hope I get your name right there. Trust. Too many mediums don't trust enough, don't believe in it. Want to get involved in the communication, want to get involved here somewhere. And the minute you eliminate that, you will find that your work just flows and flows and flows and flows. You will get notes, learn to be able to have the technique of going back and cleaning your note up, which is when your note comes in. Keep with your steps of yes, no, yes. And then if you get your no, you go back to that yes, clean it up and come back and change that to a yes. Not every no you will clean up. Yes, allow the blend to the best it can be, yeah. And by that's the best way to be a medium. That's the best way, and you're probably looking at me going, but Danielle, that's not enough, it's not enough. But why isn't it enough? Because your conscious mind is telling you it isn't enough. If you learn to trust that it is enough, and that what they give you is enough, then because you're not whapping out the names, or you're not whapping out the street names, or you're not doing what Jack Jones down the road, the other medium is, that doesn't mean to say it's not enough. It just means that you're doing enough for your communicator. It's important that we remember as the medium, we're only meant to be doing enough for the communicator. No more, no less. Do you understand that? The blend, you can always ask them if you feel that the clays are a little weak. Do the tests that I've shown you to strengthen them clays, if that helps you. Or when you're working with the spirit world, ask them to step forward. Ask them to come a little closer within your mind. Say within your mind, if you can't quite pick them up, or you can't quite feel them, do you understand that? The truth is simple, yeah. If you feel you can't quite get that blend in properly there, you can't get it sorted within your mind completely, then ask your communicator to step forward within your mind, even though they are still energy. It's the best way I can explain it to you. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. To say, come forward, speak up more, tell me a little bit more. I don't quite get what you say in this. Simplify that for me. Do you understand? They will work with you to the best of their ability. But my biggest, for the blend, if you don't feel them well enough time to step forward, trust and stay with your steps, so that if you get lost, you can always go back and clean the yes up, clean the no up, and then go back to the yes, then go back to the no, clean it up, and then move on to your next statement. Always remember your statements, then your question. Okay, never question a sitter, ever. Looks unprofessional, looks like you don't know what you're doing, and it looks unethical. If you've got the spirit world with you, you have no reason to question your sitter in any capacity. That's how you go on massively across the industry, hugely, where people are questioning their sitter time and time again. Allow the blend to the best of my ability. Then that's all you're doing. You're doing enough, Mia. You're doing enough. Why is it you think that you aren't doing enough? You're doing enough. If you're doing it to the best of your ability, That's all the spirit world asks of you, is that you do things to the best of your ability. Do everything to the best of your intention, the best of your ability, and to the best of your team. Then nobody can ask any more of you. The only person that will put pile that pressure on is you, because you are fundamentally trying to prove yourself in some other capacity, and you don't need to. And when you learn to believe in you as the medium and believe in the spirit world, you will come to find that your work is enough. No more, no less, because that's all that you are meant to be doing. Enough. And I see so many mediums crucify themselves because they're not getting this and that, because some people have been telling them they can get anything from the spirit world. If you can get anything from the spirit world, then I'm going to put out to the medium in the demonstration of any medium. You can show me a demonstration full of 50 people, full names, full addresses, full telephone numbers, and I bet you they can't do it. I bet that they can't do it. And do you know why? Because that's not what every spirit world, every communicator wants to talk about. It's you're pushing a communicator to do something it doesn't want to do. And who am I as a medium to tell somebody? It's a lack of respect for the spirit world. It's a lack of, you've got no respect for the spirit world when you're forcing them to tell you something that they don't want to tell you. Why don't you just let them? That's somebody's loved one. Bear in mind, yes, they're your energy, but where's your sense of respect for that loved one, for that person who's standing with you, who's giving their time up, just like you have for your mind? Where's the respect there? There's none. And we have very little respect for the spirit world. We have very little. We treat them poorly. We expect them to be people who are just going to give us what we want, with no respect for the feeling or the compassion or anything like that. And I see it one time and time again in the industry. And I say mediums destroy other mediums because they don't quite work the way that they work, or they don't quite, or there's a jealousy because that one's got a bit more than that one. If we all worked as a collective to understand that every medium is unique and that every medium's bringing something to the table, this world would be a much better place. A much better place. So don't give yourself a hard time there, Mia. Alright? It's been a pleasure talking to you as well. Thank you very much. But what I will say is always be yourself. Even me with me dummy pictures and stuff. Always be yourself. Alright? Is that it for the questions? Because if it is, I'm going to sign off for tonight. I've been on here for nearly 3 hours chatting. I know. Very interesting night. You enjoyed it? Different. Definitely different. Well, this is how I train. I mean, this is just some of my training. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just some of the facts and figures I give. I've got more in there. But that's for more great chat tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I'm gonna get on my tea. I'm on my tea and out. Yeah, to be fair, you're amazing. I'm not amazing. I just want to share my knowledge with people. I just want people to be aware of everything and anything. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back next week, next Wednesday. Please do share this stream around and things, and hopefully I'll see you all again next time, which is next Wednesday night. I think around about the same time as well. No problem. I'll see you again sometime, hopefully, Mia, and hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel. Anybody who hasn't subscribed to the channel, please do. And please do like and share. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all for an upload tomorrow as well. Thanks for teaching. Good night. I'll see you again, Paul, no doubt. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next week. I'm back around about the same time, alright? But I'm going to love yous and I'm going to leave yous, and I will see you all next week. Alright? Bye, everybody. Bye.